Just yesterday, we were talking about who is going to be the potential quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Basically, we left off with saying Kevin O'Connell has already decided who's going to be the starting quarterback against the Detroit Lions Week 18, but he was not ready to announce that selection to the public. But he did say, hey, you'll know very, very shortly. He just wanted to make sure the organization, the whole front office, the coaching staff, and the team knew who was going to be the starting quarterback going into this week before the public knew. Today, we finally have that answer. Who is it going to be? Who's going to start at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings against the Detroit Lions in basically a must-win game? We need a couple other factors to play in, like the Saints losing, the Packers losing, and the Seahawks losing. All three of those teams do that, and we win at noon against Detroit. We're in the playoffs as the 7th seed, which it's far-fetched, but you never know. Weirder things have happened. So let's get right to it. Before we do that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. So let's get into it, right? Kevin O'Connell has announced that the team will start Nick Mullens when they travel to Ford Field to take on the Detroit Lions in the regular season finale on Sunday afternoon. Now, this will be the third start of the season for Nick Mullens, who has also had 2 relief appearances under his belt this season. He took over for Josh Dobbs against Las Vegas and led the lone scoring drive of the game in a 3-0 victory. One of the worst games I've ever witnessed in my life, but Nick Mullens did pretty solid. And then this past Sunday, he came in at halftime for an ineffective Jaren Hall in a 33-10 loss that effectively ended the competitive portion of the Vikings season. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, there's a chance we make the playoffs, but really that's like 0.00001% chance that's going to happen. So it's really not going to be competitive anymore going through the season, but we still are looking for a massive win over the Detroit Lions. Try to upset them, right? Now, Mullens started when the Vikings faced the Lions in Week 16 and threw a whopping 4 interceptions, contributing significantly to the Vikings' 30-24 loss at US Bank Stadium. I was at that game. Every interception looked horrible, looked like I could pick off the ball. I mean, it was just bananas what happened there. But, hey, Mullens did throw for 4 bills, 411 yards in that game. So he was able to move the ball against the Detroit defense. He just managed to find a way to turn the ball over at the worst times possible. Like that game-sealing interception to Justin Jefferson, right? Start off the drive, 3rd and 28, need to have it type of play coming up. Mullens chucks it up. Justin Jefferson comes down, double covered. It was phenomenal. Stadium erupted. Boy, we have a chance to win this game. How in the world did that happen, right? So then you're thinking, okay, we're going to have a good drive. We might go down there. We might march right down the field, put in the ball in the end zone, win the game. How you doing? Keep it moving. You have to wait to win the North until Week 18 comes along. But then Mullens does what we've seen Jaren Hall do, what we've seen Josh Dobbs do, and that was force the ball. Force the ball into double coverage into Justin Jefferson's hand where, yeah, that's probably the guy that you want having the ball thrown his way in a game-sealing, game-clinching, game-winning type of play. But it was a bad ball. It was thrown behind him. If he would have let him maybe a foot ahead of him, I think it would have been a lot different of an outcome, probably a touchdown. Ends up getting picked. It was just brutal, sucked the soul out of US Bank Stadium. It sucked, okay? But Nick Mullens has his revenge game this week. This is a big-time revenge game for Nick Mullens. 411 yards passing in a single game is very, very hard to do, and Mullens managed to do that. If he doesn't turn the ball over 4 times, if he only turns the ball over 3 times, the Vikings probably win that game. So I think this is a big-time start. This is who I expected. Yesterday during the video I said if it was me, I'd probably go Mullens as the starter just because he played the Detroit Lions. It'd be a good revenge game for him, a get-back game. Let's end the season on a high note. And I also said probably have Dobbs as the backup quarterback and then Jaren Hall as the emergency third quarterback just because he's a rookie. We know what we got out of both Dobbs and Hall, but I think Dobbs would give us the best chance if Nick Mullens were to go down. I'm not sure what's going to happen there, and that's where we're going to go lead up to. Who's going to be the backup? Well, unfortunately, there's no word yet as to who will serve as the backup to Nick Mullens, whether it will be Hall or Josh Dobbs, but we'll probably find out when the inactives come out before Sunday's game. That's usually when you find out who's going to be the backup quarterback, at least for us Vikings fans. That's been when we've figured out who is going to be the backup quarterback. It's like, okay, We know who the starter is, who's going to be the backup, who's going to be the emergency third quarterback. Typically, the last couple weeks, it's been Josh Dobbs as the emergency third quarterback. I think it might flip-flop this week, but I'm not 100% sure, but we'll wait and see. But Nick Mullens gets his fourth start of the season against the Detroit Lions, his second against the Detroit Lions, his fourth total of the season where, hey, it's a massive revenge game. Let's make sure we get a dub and then hope for the rest to fall in place and maybe, just maybe, make the playoffs. So you guys can let me know your thoughts about Nick Mullens getting the start in the comment section below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Have a great rest of your night, folks, and Skol Vikes.